Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
So excited to have Shastra back joining us today. For those you may not be familiar, this is our fourth. Is it our fourth podcast?
Right.
It is. Oh my goodness, she is on fire. We've been here the past few weeks talking about many important issues as a Tantra educator. She knows so much. Let me have her do her introduction. Please introduce yourself and tell us the name of your company.
Okay. My name is Shastra. I am a love and intimacy coach and a Tantra educator. My business is Shastra, the Sensual Spirit. So that's also my website, shastrathesensualspirit.com. My contact info is my email, goddess.shastra@gmail.com. And I am in Phoenix, Arizona, although I work with people all over the country, all over the world. I have 14 years of experience.
She's here live today on Zoom, where we could do Zoom sessions. And today's topic is awesome. It's Tantra full body orgasmic training. So this is a topic I think you guys want to tune in for. This is fascinating. I mean, there's so much that our body can do, we want to do. Maybe you're uncomfortable, don't know. Ask Shastra. She's the one who can guide us through and help you with over 14 years of experience and doing what she does. She's here to teach us more about how we can do Tantra, even being fully clothed. So, that might be a misconception to some people. So let's recap a little what Tantra is and take it from there.
Right. Oh, yes, I did forget to say. So I'm a white Tantra teacher, which means all sessions and workshops are fully clothed. So I did want to say that. So yes, in our first podcast, it was all about what is Tantra. So I encourage you to go to the first podcast. I think it was posted on September 25th. And basically, Tantra, the Sanskrit word, means to expand. And a Tantra teacher or a Tantric student seeks enlightenment through the body, not necessarily through sex. And it's a path of enlightenment, of a way that you can shed negative experiences in your body and live in a state of bliss.
Beautiful.
So that's basically what it is.
Awesome. Well, we're excited to have you back. And do you want to kind of recap any of the other sessions before we go over to some of the other types of sessions that you offer?
Yeah, I think that would be helpful because in working with clients, I do take them through a step-by-step process. So the podcast number 2, which posted on October 2nd, is on Spotify. This is on Spotify, was all about sexual healing, sexual freedom. So we want to make sure that you as the client are free of negative sexual attitudes, sexual trauma, and so forth. And so please go and listen to that podcast as well. And then the next step would be tantric communication, which we talked about in depth last week, and you can find that one also. And there's a process I created to reintroduce people on how to really be intimate with each other via communication first, and then how to talk to each other about sex. And then today we're going to talk about the full body orgasmic training. And next week, we're going to go even deeper into pre-play and lovemaking practices. So
beautiful. Well, thank you so much. Let's get started. We love having you here. And just want to remind everyone of your website one more time.
Okay, shastrathesensualspirit.com.
Perfect. All right, let's do it.
Okay, what is in Tantra? What is sexual energy? So I would say that humans only have one energy, and that is sexual energy. And I know that may be confusing to you. However, our sexual energy, when expanded and refined, is actually the energy that has created us into existence on the planet. Okay, so it moves beyond the physical. Now, if it's left unrefined, and kept down at the chakras 1 and 2, then nothing really happens, no healing happens, and it actually can cause suffering, and it is a underlying cause of addiction, sexual addiction, because anything that's repressed is going to want to express itself in a not so good way. And so, but the good thing is when the sexual energy is refined, which is what we're going to talk about today, you kind of recreate yourself, and it's a source of ecstasy, joy, and you become more intuitive, and you relate to others in a whole different way. So it's really beautiful.
Got it. All right. Well, I'm excited because I don't know anyone that doesn't want to have a better orgasm, right? And sometimes it's hard to achieve. And so, with your classes, with your instruction, though, this is part of it, right? This is what someone can actually learn, right? Because, each of us maybe are open a little differently to sex in other ways, but we have questions. And just to be advised, it's a safe zone, right? We could express, feel, ask any question. Nothing's too shameful or embarrassing. Is that true?
Well, as far as asking me, yeah, that's true.
Good, good, good. Just want to make sure you guys can feel comfortable with her. And there's great benefits in this.
Right. Yeah, I know. It's kind of funny because even before I knew I was going to be teaching Tantra, people would come up to me all the time and start talking to me about sex. I guess it was a sign, right?
It was just your innate, the knowing of that this is your calling for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk about what each sex needs to open up sexually. And so as far as the feminine, of course, physically as the feminine, we need longer foreplay, that's for sure. And we need to be touched full body, because keeping in mind that the feminine sexual body is the most powerful force of creation, not diminishing the masculine at all. I'll talk about his role in a second. So both are needed, just like we were talking about in the last podcast. We need the electric energy from the masculine and the magnetic energy to create. And so emotionally, what does the feminine need? Well, of course, we need to trust. So how do we trust? And that's, pretty basic stuff, like having your partner be reliable, following through, and so forth. And then when a woman trusts, she opens her heart. When she opens her heart, she can open her lower chakra area and sex, is a lot more fulfilling. So open communication. Now, spiritually, we talked about this last week too in the tantric communication. As the feminine, we are so much deeper, and we need to know that our depth is being understood. And so you can go back to the tantric communication podcast last week, and there's all kinds of tips for the masculine to how to bring out the feminine. And then spiritually, she needs direction. So it all kind of works together. Now, what does the masculine need to open up sexually? So it's kind of interesting because, what do I want to say? They need open body language coming from the woman. I've had, some men come to me saying that they can't perform sexually, that they can't even get an erection. And I always like to encourage them, well, have you tuned into the energy field of the woman's body? If she's not open energetically, no wonder you can't, So next week, we'll talk more about, again, for a man, how to be a tantric master. Actually, for a woman, how to be a tantric master. So that's one thing you pay attention to. Do you want to merge with this person sexually right now? Do you want to wait? Do you want to help them to open up by communication? Now, it's kind of interesting how men need, it's really, I always say for couples, full body touch, before sexual merging. In India, in ancient Tantra, the male tantric student was required to receive massage for 8 hours before being allowed to go into the goddess temple.
Ooh, the God, I like that. Ah,
Yeah, and so because a lot of men make, like I was saying, they make love with their brains.
yeah.
They're totally not in touch with their body, and that's the whole reason why I teach Tantra is the supernatural quality of our bodies. And so emotionally, the masculine, of course, needs to receive appreciation constantly, to make sure he's in a really confident place with his partner. And then spiritually, and this again was ancient India, it's like a male student said, the only way I can reach enlightenment is through the goddess. So the
Mm-hmm.
so in sexual merging, a man can be taught the ways of ascension through the sensitivities of a woman's body. Okay. And many tantric texts say that. And so, like I said, it's not a cut to men. It's just our bodies are wired more to connect cosmically, and actually to have full body orgasm a lot more easily.
Interesting. And by the way, Shastra, remind us how we can reach you.
Okay, my website is shastrathecentralspirit.com. And if you'd like to schedule an appointment, please email me at goddess.shastra@gmail.com, and I will send you the booking calendar link to schedule.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so much. Let's continue the conversation and also find out more about this topic. And by the way, just curious, where do you know where the word orgasm comes from? Is there like some science behind it that leads back to, do you know the nature of?
Wow, that's a great question. Nobody's ever asked me that, and I will research that, and we can
Yeah.
talk about that next time.
I wonder if it means anything, relates to anything, and when was the word developed? Yeah, it developed. What did they used to call that years ago when that word didn't exist? It was like a wow moment, but you think back to cavemen and you think back to
Well, yeah, I know. I heard that the Neanderthal men, they were puzzled why women's bellies would grow and then have babies. They didn't really know what they were doing when
yeah.
they merged with them sexually. They didn't
Mm-hmm.
get it, It's pretty wild.
Oh my goodness. Yep.
Okay, let's talk about just a basic definition. So we're going to get into the how-tos of full body orgasm. So one definition is that when an orgasmic experience rises above the genital area, and for a man, that there is no actual release, but the energy is, we want the energy to expand all the way up what I call the central channel to rise up the Kundalini, connect with either the third eye and or the crown chakra, and it creates a whole different set of experiences. So the intensity of a genital orgasm, right? It's very intense. But once you learn this other practice, so you're breathing in a certain way, I'll go into that during arousal, you go into this more gentle streaming kind of orgasm, and it's just some waves that are moving up the body, and it can last a really long time. Okay, but there's more benefits too. So the goal, I call this high sex. So what is the goal of high sex? It's to blend or combine these high states of arousal with high states of relaxation, and involving the body, so you lose the idea of what you're doing. And so if there's a goal in high sex, it's kind of to be goalless, which means then you get in a desireless state. You don't
Yeah.
really know what you're doing. And then, of course, as we talked about in the sexual healing, sexual freedom, or maybe we didn't, but I'll make sure to talk about it next time, is using this high sex to actually heal trauma, so there's a lot to it. It's not just for pleasure, it's for, well, I'm a wise woman teacher, so everything has to have a goal, so sorry.
Interesting.
Okay.
We got to
So,
practice this too, right? Yeah.
well, yeah, thank you for
It's
saying
like,
that because, you know, it's experiential, so you can take one workshop or I can teach you full body orgasmic practices via Zoom easily. But in order for it to really work, you have to actually do it. You have to practice, right? So let's talk about the benefits of practicing this high sex or tantric sex. So, of course, for a male, it's very beneficial. You can achieve more staying power. You can learn to redirect energy. That's exactly what we're doing, and one benefit is you're not so depleted after sex, and you can actually, have this high go on for hours with your partner. And it also helps you stay in the body more. It's like a retraining. For women, I think it gives us as women confidence, because we may have repressed these supernatural powers of our sexual body, of our spiritual body, and it helps us to become more orgasmic, to stop and start, which we're going to talk about next week in pre-play and sexual merging, how to stop and start to help, release negative emotions and so forth. But it's conscious lovemaking. It's completely different. And so a woman through high sex learns to have a voice, and if you've worked with me and learned how to communicate, how to even know what you want sexually, then that can really, really help.
Yeah. All right. And practice makes perfect, I hope, right? That's what you hope. And you practice it for a whole month and take those steps. And if you're working with someone like you, though, are you guiding them one-on-one? Are you, how often do you connect with this person to work on these things?
Yes, well, as often as they want to, I encourage, if I offer this to you via Zoom or in person, then it's good to connect with me and practice at least once a month for the next few months. Even a body type, which I'll talk more about in a second, who has a hard time learning this, if you practice with me, there's something about, I breathe with you even on Zoom and stuff, and we go into it together, and you reap some of the benefits of my energy.
Got it. Like I'm connecting right now, feeling the energy. All right. All right. All
You're
right.
funny.
Got no breath, heart, breath. Got it all. Okay. What else do we need to know for these other?
Okay. So there's 3 tools to achieve these states. And then I want to tell you a couple funny experiences. So the 3 tools that you would use to learn the full body orgasmic practice would be the chakra centers, the
Okay.
heart, and also the breath. And so the main chakra that I think is so important to work with is what I call the third eye. Now, the third eye, I'm not sure how it got called that in ancient times, but it is the seat of the pineal gland. Now, the amazing thing about the pineal gland is the pineal gland produces DMT. DMT is a hallucinogenic substance, okay? So that's one of the reasons, but the pineal gland is connected to the higher realms. It's connected to love. And love is what has made us come into creation. We do that through high sex. And so you'll experience, if you want to partake on this journey with me, how you change, and how when you connect this sexual energy with the third eye energy. I know I took my first Tantra workshop 15 years ago, and within 2 weeks of practicing, I was like, oh my God, I was like, I recreated myself right then and there. I had no idea who it really was before that. So, and as far as the heart, well, we know we have the physical heart and the emotional heart. I don't know if you've heard this, but it has several layers of protection over it. I mean, we're on planet Earth. It's not that great of an experience right now. But so through the high sex practices, we can slowly dissolve the trauma around the outer layers of the heart, which leads us to the spiritual heart, which is so powerful. And so there's a shamanic practice called Heart as Healer. And what that means is, and I've created a partnered practice that's really powerful. Once you shed the trauma from the outer layers of your heart, you can lie with your partner and do a certain type of heart breathing, where when you're breathing in their trauma, and I've done it with people and my whole body shakes. It's like the heart just takes it in and pops it back out and dissolves it. It's very, very powerful. And then the third ingredient, of course, the breath. That's the whole key that we've been talking about really in every podcast. And so there's many types of breath. So the full body orgasmic breath is to create blissful states, but there's many other types of breath that can help you release your burden in your life. So you want me to keep going here?
Sure. Yeah, we still got time. Go for it.
Okay. So we know, for a lower chakra orgasm, I'm not even going to really talk about that because it's not the subject of today. A woman can orgasm, at the clitoris, inside the vaginal opening, at the cervix, and so forth. That's another topic. So as far as full body orgasms, there can be the experience. You can experience it more physically, or it's more common to experience it more energetically, because just think about it. If you're breathing up in a state of arousal, and you're not releasing at the lower chakras, you're creating a higher frequency energy that you're going to use for your personal benefit and for creating deep, deep intimacy with your partner. So now there are different body types. There's one body. Well, I've created all these different body types. So when I do a reading for you, I tell you what your body type is. So a sexual healer body type is very grounded in his body. And so even he can easily have a full body orgasm, but it will be more grounded, more physical. Whereas other body types, even when they're just having sexual release at the lower chakras, it's more energetic, and that's okay. There's no judgment about anything really. So let's see. Let me go and tell you a couple of stories. So I won't say his name. Actually, I've never met him, but there was a man actually in Phoenix a few years ago. And he wrote an article about level 1, 2, and 3 full body orgasm. And it's really a cute article. In fact, if I'll send it to you if you email me. But so level 1 is it started to be full body, but it involved touching the genitals. And this was done by himself, okay? It was pretty much regular lower chakra release. Level 2 was he experiences with the breath only, no hands needed. And so what happens to him then was this streaming, this ribbon-like energy starts, and the energy moves up into the third eye. And through this, he said that he could automatically understand the depth of the ecstasy of the goddess, of the feminine energy. It's kind of interesting, that he would say that. And so, and then level 3, full body ecstasy, no hands needed, through the breath only. So he experienced such an amazing amount of bliss that the next morning when he woke up, he was still blissed out.
Wow, that's powerful. Oof.
Yep, exactly. And then I wrote an article, and this is also kind of funny, but really describing what I call the subtle body experience and the cosmic experience, so level 2 and 3. And the subtle body experience, I experienced this wave-like ribbon, again, through the breath only. I was totally clothed, no touching. And then I felt euphoric. And then the cosmic experience, was like I was one with the universe. I was one with existence. And the ecstasy that I felt was so overwhelming. And actually, the orgasmic energy shot out the back of my heart for some reason. I'm not really sure. And the funny part is I did this because I wanted to write this article. So here I am doing the breathing and experiencing this, and I could barely write.
Nice. All right. Well, where can we find this? And how can we reach you? Oh gosh, we are out of time. My goodness. Sorry, I didn't look down.
Oh, okay. Yes, my website, please go to my website. It's Shastra, thecentralspirit.com, and go to my tantric services page, and that's where you'll see which type of session you want to schedule. And then please, you can email me at goddess.shastra@gmail.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure having you here. And what do we have in store for next week? Do you want to give us a little teaser for next week?
Oh, yeah. So it's going to be I forgot what I wrote, but it's all about lovemaking practices.
Yep.
Starting with pre-play and then sexual merging to you've practiced the sexual breathing and you know how to do full body orgasm. And so it's the next
Yep. So
step.
ancient and modern pre-play and tantric lovemaking. And let me know about the word orgasm if you find out, okay?
Oh, I will.
The origins. Thank you so much. Have a great day, Shastra. Bye-bye.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.